Good evening. We have a great show for you tonight, a lot to get to. But first, let's talk about the heat because it is here. And this weekend, we will be back in the triple digits, unfortunately, in cities and businesses across our state. They are really preparing for it because with the heat comes the all too familiar wildfire risks. So we start with our Luke Cleary, who is live in Rancho Cordova, where crews have been working hard trying to get a fire under control already.
We're here off of White Rock Road, and crews in Rancho Cordova have pretty much gotten a handle on this big grass fire. Take a look at this open field, which as you can see is very rocky and rugged, making it difficult for the resources to actually drive out there and take the fight directly to the flames. That's why we're told they had Copter 1 up in the sky doing water dumps, really helping them to get a handle on the flames. But for the most part, they were able to get containment by allowing the fire to burn and tie in with these roadways here. We're told that there could be some backfire operations extending into the evening. We still don't have a determination about what started this fire, but crews tell us that there was actually a fire in a very similar area just last night. And we had a very wet winter this year, meaning that our fire season may be a bit delayed. Here's what the battalion chief had to tell us from Sacramento Metro Fire.
We're about 28 days, 30 days behind normal fire season. We are right in the thick of it. So there's no practicing. This is straight up fire season. It's gonna be a very busy weekend. Our crews, again, we're right in the middle of fire season. They're trained up, ready. All resources are available.
It's hot out here, and that's been extremely taxing on crews that are tasked with putting out these fires. And although, as you heard there from Sac Metro Fire, the fire season may have been slightly delayed, make no mistake, we're gonna start seeing a lot more of these grass fires breaking out in the days and weeks to come.
All right, thank you, Luke. Again, preparations are underway ahead of the extreme heat. The Sacramento Zoo just announced that starting on Friday, they will be closing early. Gates will close at 1 p.m. and then visitors who are already inside, they can stay until 2. And some areas in Southern California are also closing hiking trails. So let's go ahead and bring in Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods because this is some serious heat that we're talking about once again.
It certainly is. Yeah, excessive heat watch going into place as soon as Friday, lasting all the way through Monday. Highs between 98 and 113 degrees. Those lows only in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Not a lot of time to get some relief from this extreme heat. And you can see how we're going to see those temperatures going up by Saturday, peaking at about 110. The average high, 95. That's where we were today. Right about 95 degrees for downtown Sacramento. We were in the low to mid 90s to upper 90s throughout the valley, close to 90 for the foothills and close to 80 up top for the Sierra. Light onshore flow, unfortunately, just not enough of it to keep us below the mid 90s. And that's where we continue to see those temperatures, even at this hour. 95 degrees for Sacramento, 97 for Oroville. We're holding on to 98 for Stockton. 80s and 90s throughout the foothills, 70s for the Sierra. How about that cool 65 for San Francisco? That's a good place to beat the heat. Tonight, we'll see those temperatures cooling into the 80s by 8 p.m., 70s by 10 p.m. Forecast low, though, 60. Our sunrise tomorrow, 5:51. And once that sun comes up, it is just going to be bearing down. High pressure ridge sinking, warming air, dangerous heat building day by day, leading us into that excessive heat watch. Highs for tomorrow in the 70s for the Sierra. Highs in the 80s and 90s as we head throughout the foothills. Again, the cool place will be the coast. 64 for San Francisco. Head inland, 80s and 90s. A little farther inland. And this is where we see some of those temperatures starting to climb into the 90s, close to 100 throughout the valley. Morning lows are in the 50s to right around 60. So a pleasant start to the day, but it is going to be a hot afternoon. We'll have that 10-day forecast coming up in just a couple minutes.
And we also want to mention that the state launched a new website and campaign today to raise awareness about extreme heat. The site is called heatreadyca.com, and it helps connect people to cooling centers and also gives tips on how to stay hydrated and healthy. And the state is spending some serious cash on this. Some of the $20 million being spent will be used to partner with 100 organizations to go out into vulnerable communities and better prepare them for the extreme heat events. All right, there's been a lot going on today. Here are some of the other headlines that have us talking. Questions and concerns remain following the escape and capture of murder suspect Eric Abril. He escaped from Sutter Roseville Hospital over the weekend and was caught in Rockland with just his underwear on and still in restraints. The Placer County Sheriff told us that the Board of Supervisors today that they'll be doing a complete investigation. And a Marine has been released from custody after a 14-year-old was found at Camp Pendleton. She was found in the Marine Corps barracks and had been reported missing for more than 2 weeks. The teen's aunt released a video on TikTok saying the teen was sold to a soldier for sex and brought onto the base. She wants justice to be served. And it's being called one of the largest settlements in state history. A Yuba City Army veteran will receive a $20 million settlement from Yuba City after suing the city police department. And this brings us to tonight's main point. This historic settlement all comes from a use of force incident back in April of 2020 that left the man paralyzed. And our Jeannie Nguyen joins us with more on today's announcement. Jeannie?
Alex, the Yuba City Police Chief did apologize to that man during a press conference today. And this all started as a DUI stop, but it ended with that man losing the ability to walk for the rest of his life.
Greg Gross was once an active man, but that all changed.
Ow, I'm not resisting.
In April 2020, when he was stopped by Yuba City police officers for DUI, body camera video shows Gross was handcuffed as officers tried to walk him to the unit, but he ended up on the ground.
It's called paying compliance. When you stop resisting.
Ow, I'm not resisting. Why are you doing this?
Because you're just not going with the program.
Shortly after, officers tried taking Gross to the hospital, but once again, he ended up on the ground.
And we've done it again.
Officers didn't believe Gross when he said he couldn't stand up.
Stand up. Come on, you're a man. Be a man.
I can't feel my legs.
You can feel your legs.
Gross, with a bloody face, eventually gets wheeled into the hospital. From that incident, Gross completely lost the ability to use his legs and hands.
It broke his neck, and as a result of it breaking his neck, he was paralyzed.
During a press conference today, more than 3 years later, Gross settled a lawsuit with Yuba City for $20,354,000.
Unfortunately, on April 12, 2020, we missed the mark. And for that, Mr. Gross, I'm sorry.
Yuba City Police Chief Brian Baker emphasized this incident doesn't reflect the service they provide to the community and that changes have been implemented.
We have regular random audits of body cam footage from our interactions with our community members. We have implemented and are utilizing an early warning system to monitor the use of force by our officers.
And while he's grateful for the changes, Gross says he's still in disbelief that this happened.
I couldn't understand how someone could be in a position of authority and was acting like that and treating another human being like that.
Gross's attorney says Gross was initially charged for DUI and resisting arrest. He pled no contest for the DUI and the other charge was dropped. As for the officers, his attorney says the officer who actually broke his neck is no longer with the department. Alex, back to you.
Thanks, Jeannie. Coming up next on To The Point, Manson follower Leslie Van Houten, a convicted murderer, is now out of prison after dozens of parole hearings. Why this one stuck? We're going back to a point in time. Plus, our ABC 10 Originals investigation, a crypto scam is on the rise, and it has the attention of the FBI.
Fattening up their victim with illusions of grandeur, of wealth, of love, before bleeding them dry.
We're introducing you to the term pig butchering and the things you need to watch out for. Well, the youngest Charles Manson follower is now out of prison after dozens of parole attempts. The last one stuck following an appeals court process. Leslie Van Houten served 53 years in prison. Her release comes days after Governor Gavin Newsom announced he would not fight a state appeals court ruling that Van Houten should be granted parole. Her parole was denied by not just Governor Gavin Newsom, but Governor Jerry Brown. To understand why, let's go back to a point in time, because in 1969, a wealthy couple in Los Angeles was killed. The LaBianca's blood was smeared on the walls, and Leslie Van Houten was 19 when this happened. She later described holding Rosemary LaBianca down with a pillowcase over her head as others stabbed her. Then she says that Charles Manson told her to, quote, do something. And she said that she picked up a knife and stabbed Rosemary more than a dozen times. Now, Van Houten was originally sentenced to death, and that sentence was later commuted to life in prison when the California Supreme Court overturned the state's death penalty law 3 years later in 1972. So fast forward more than 50 years and dozens of parole attempts. Van Houten is now being released to parole supervision, and she will spend about a year at a halfway house to learn how to adjust to today's society. Still ahead, our ABC 10 Originals investigation, a crypto scam on the rise, why it's being referred to as pig butchering. That's after the break. You might be on Amazon's website right now. The annual Prime Day event started today. The 2 days of sales are expected to generate nearly $13 billion worth of activity for Amazon, and several competitors, including Walmart and Target, also have their own events now. All that online shopping will mean lots of shipping, so make sure that you watch out for those package thieves. And a scam involving cryptocurrency is growing rapidly. It's called pig butchering, and the FBI is investigating. And they say in some cases that victims are losing thousands of dollars, even their life savings. So tonight, investigative reporter Andy Judson is sharing one victim story in an ABC 10 Originals report.
So she got in touch with me from LinkedIn.
It was the start of a friendship
She's a Chinese lady here in the States
that spanned for months.
She just wanted information about America and Western civilization, and then we basically chatted daily.
But as the weeks went on, one question remained.
Yeah, there's the old saying, too good to be true.
Was she real?
So I said, would you like to FaceTime? And she said yes.
Wow, that shows how long you guys talked for. My goodness.
Concerned about retaliation, our source did not want to show his face, but wanted to tell his story. We'll call him Kevin.
Yeah, so she asked after about a day or so on LinkedIn if we could switch to WhatsApp.
Kevin and Changyan began talking in January 2023. We were not able to independently verify the photos, and they could be of someone else. That's why we're hiding her identity.
This is basically how it started, and this is, she sent me a picture of herself.
He was cautious, but intrigued.
But there was always that tingling in the back of my mind that, there's something not right here.
The more they talked, the more he learned, like where she lived.
She said she lived in San Francisco in Pacific Heights.
Her history.
She had come here supposedly after she'd been divorced.
And her job.
She was a financial trader.
It's how she paid for her lavish lifestyle.
She was showing me her house and her clothes and the stuff for material goods. So at that point I was thinking, well, why would a wealthy person be wanting to scam me?
His trust grew as their communication moved to voice memos.
It's very nice to hear your voice. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Good night.
Then FaceTime.
So it was her when you were FaceTiming?
Yep. So that was very convincing. And I actually asked her about how she was doing investment, and she offered to teach me. I said, sure, I'd love to learn.
Were you involved in crypto before this at all?
No, I had just heard about it.
She claimed to know when to buy crypto to make a profit.
She had an uncle who had inside trader information.
She spent hours showing Kevin how to sign up for crypto and invest through these detailed instructions.
She was suggesting that I only do a minimum amount so I can feel comfortable. And I'm like, okay, at this point, I'm like, I'll risk $1,700 and we'll see what happens.
While texting, they watched the market.
She tells me now buy. And I clicked the buy button and ended up making $388 profit.
A few days later, her uncle got another tip. Kevin said he'd do another $1,700.
And she came back and said, oh, isn't there supposed to be a zero on the end of that? And I said, 17,000? I said, no way. I go, are you crazy?
She got upset.
And tell me that I'm not taking risks, and nobody gets anywhere in life without taking risks.
Kevin's trust dwindled as she applied more pressure.
At that point, I'm thinking, well, maybe I'd go to the FBI. I don't know.
Kevin didn't end up going to the FBI, but we did.
But I've worked basically every threat that cyber has to offer.
In the world of cyber and counterterrorism threats,
my niche is hacking the mind of a hacker.
Special Agent Hassani has seen it all. But in 2021, he began seeing a new scam, pig butchering.
But it just refers to raising little piglets, fattening them up, and butchering them. And they're fattening up their victim with illusions of grandeur, of wealth, of love, before bleeding them dry.
Pig butchering, or what the FBI has kindly coined confidence scams,
we have a much nicer title for it.
Are a combination of two popular cons.
Investment scams and romance scams.
Pig butchering starts long before you may think.
But with technology, where we are today, All our information is out there, and the criminals harvest this information. Before they make contact, they typically know quite a bit about the person.
Like your vulnerabilities.
If I find out that you're a religious person, I can exploit your faith. And once you start to become suspicious of me, I can use God as an example of, hey, God brought us together. I don't know why you're resisting.
They also prey on the sick and the lonely.
If you have cancer, I can pose as somebody who has cancer.
Then they reach out.
Unsolicited contact. Have you ever gotten a text message that just reads hi from an unknown number?
LinkedIn, dating apps, text messages, and more. These are all ways pig butcherers make contact, and once you respond, they stay in touch.
Pig butchering is a long game. The idea is to cultivate trust, which takes time.
During that time, the scammer often does exactly what Kevin saw.
They start with usually a DM, and then they move to WhatsApp.
Messages on the app WhatsApp are encrypted.
So even if we subpoena WhatsApp, all we can really see is their contact information.
The scammer poses as someone wealthy who knows finance and can teach you how to invest.
But a big part of the scam is using crypto. It's a way for the bad guys to launder money and get it overseas quickly.
They get the crypto cash by directing the victim to move it.
But I then have you send it to another wallet, and then to another wallet, and then to another wallet, and that last wallet would be mine.
So who are these scammers really?
Is this organized crime?
Yes.
Between groups?
Yes.
Or it's not just like one scam?
No. And a lot of times the scammers, believe it or not, are victims themselves. They'll apply for a job and they show up and it's this ring, so to speak, and they're stuck and they're given this script and they're told they're going to do it.
And it's a full-time job.
They must have worked hours and hours on this story. Extremely detailed.
Luckily, Kevin caught on just in time.
So I did call her out and I said, I think you're scamming me.
He never invested more money. Now he's learned if he did, he likely would have lost it.
So what they do is they get you to invest a small sum, they get your confidence up, and then they take it from you the second time.
But could Cheng be real if he FaceTimed with her? We gave Cheng's information to the FBI to investigate. A few weeks later, Kevin got a letter warning him of the potential scam. Others don't walk away so lucky. Special Agent Hassani said he's seen people give their life savings, millions, to these pig butcherers.
Once they have the money, if they get all of it, they spend it. And that's why it's crucial to report this as soon as a victim is even remotely suspicious.
You can report by going online to ic3.gov.
This happens every day. It's a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. It's going to continue.
Even though Kevin walked away ahead of the game, he's sharing his story in hopes others become wary of the scam.
Just don't even mess with them. They need to learn that they just can't take money from everybody, and then we're on to them.
And if you want to know more about this scam and the warning signs to watch out for, make sure you head to abc10.com/to-the-point. Still ahead, the heat is on, as we talked about earlier. So should we be concerned about power outages? And we'll also get a check of your 10-day forecast. Let's check out that 10-day forecast. We have triple-digit heat moving in on Friday, lasting all the way until Monday. So heed the warnings, take care of yourself, get your AC ready, check on loved ones, friends, family, neighbors. That heat is nothing to mess around with, so make sure you take care of yourself. Again, another check your 10-day forecast right there. And as always, we like to end the show with what we're working on for tomorrow. So tomorrow, we're taking a closer look at concerns about power outages in the heat, of course, because we're getting some updates from the state's power grid operator. So what does this summer's energy outlook look like, and why things might be looking up when it comes to keeping the lights on? So that's tomorrow right here on To The Point. And as always, if you have something you want us to look into, make sure you reach out to me and the team. You can always send us an email. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.